Israel has continued their full-fledged war against journalism with the complete backing of the United States, as they have murdered hundreds of journalists since the start of their genocidal war. Israel is targeting and murdering anyone who documents their genocide. They recently targeted and killed Mohammed Mansour and Hassan Shabbat. 2024 was the deadliest year ever recorded for journalists, with 70% of the journalists murdered killed by Israel. Can you imagine the Western reaction if Russia murdered over 200 journalists since the start of their special military operation? Hell, can you imagine what they would say if Hamas targeted and killed hundreds of Israeli journalists? When approached with the fact that Israel is targeting and killing so many journalists, the Trump administration essentially said that Israel can kill any journalist they want because of Hamas.
The Israelis have killed 2 more journalists, Hossam Shabbat of Al Jazeera of Russia, Mohammed Mansour of Palestine. Today, that brings the number to 208. Each one was individually targeted. The IDF says they used extensive intelligence gathering and precise munitions. Shabbat killed in his car, Mansour in his house. The Committee to Protect Journalists has once again noted that the deliberate targeted killing of journalists is a war crime. Do you have any comment?
I would say that every single thing that's happening is a result of Hamas.
This is the Trump administration essentially endorsing collective punishment, which is a war crime. Where is the Western journalist outrage over Israel systemically killing and murdering reporters in Gaza? Their silence is complicity. Israel is the #1 threat to free speech and freedom in the press in the world, and they must be stopped. Despite the rhetoric coming from the neocon Donald Trump, we have Pentagon officials that are openly admitting that Donald Trump's strikes on Yemen are not effective and are burning through United States munitions. Yemen is handing the United States once again another L. Despite claiming that he wants to cut waste in the federal government, Donald Trump's bombing of Yemen has been extremely wasteful. In just 3 weeks, the United States has spent $200 million just on munitions used to strike Yemen. That doesn't even include overall operation costs of the bombing. It is estimated that Donald Trump will spend over $1 billion by the end of this week bombing Yemen. And for what? To protect Israel during their genocide? Now there are neocons at the Pentagon that are worried that the United States demilitarizes itself and won't have the munitions to counter China. Ansar-Allah in Yemen is causing the United States to demilitarize itself. Despite all this spending and all this bombing, the United States didn't even accomplish their geopolitical objective, with only minimum damage done to Yemen's military capacity. The United States is frustrated that they cannot defeat Ansar-Allah, so instead they are bombing cancer hospitals. They are also bombing Yemen's water supply in residential areas. You know, committing war crimes? So the United States cannot defeat Yemen and stop their military operation in the Red Sea. So their strategy is to inflict terror on the population of Yemen. Notice the United States, just like Israel, wages war by engaging in pure terrorism.
What's poppin', my friends? Welcome back. We have a banger of Friday for you guys today. And I want to go back to that. I want to show you guys this. Because you guys know I'm going to show you guys 2 hotspots a week, because I was still releasing hotspots even though I was on break. This part right here strikes me. And I'm going to bring my brother. I got my hotspot brother Niko joining me today. So I can't wait to get his thoughts on this. But Pentagon officials, and I want to highlight this because I was like, what? That's how I knew I was going to do a hotspot video on this story. Where people in the Pentagon like, hey, man, you guys are using so many bombs. Those are the bombs that we was planning to use against China. So this is them admitting essentially that their plan for 2027, 2028 is to bomb hospitals in China to inflict massive civilian casualties against in China. And I think this kind of relates to the whole tariff thing, because I can't wait to see what my brother Niko had to say about this. But I see the United States kind of just picking their ball and going home. You know what I mean? It's them throwing a tantrum over the incoming Chinese century. So it's like, man, if we're gonna have a Chinese century, we have Europe depending on China, we have China making a move in Africa. Fuck it, we're gonna destabilize the entire fucking markets. If you guys want to choose China, that how you want to do it then? And obviously there's a split. And I'm gonna get my brother Niko. I got my hotspot brother NikoDHouse join us. We know that there's a split among the establishment, the neocon, evangelical Christian wing. Then we have the liberal class. And the same way that the conservatives disagree with the liberals on Ukraine, liberals disagree with the Trump MAGA right on their strategy of just blowing up the global economy instead of having a Chinese century, because that's just my interpretation of kind of what's going on. But Niko, I want to get you in there. What's popping, brother? There's so much talk about it, man.
What's going on, bro? It's been too long. I feel like it's been too long. Hey, man, I'm glad you're taking a break. I hope you're enjoying it. But y'all know, hotspot don't stop. We be on vacation. Yeah, hotspot still don't stop. Boy, I remember I was on vacation in the U.S. or I was trying to go on vacation until Israel decided to start a fucking genocide. Bro, I'm in my car on the road. Bro, hotspot don't stop because when the news is hot, man, you got to get it out. And I find it striking that liberals are so heavily against these tariffs, not because they're against it, because they're going to come out, in my opinion, against everything that Trump does, but it's the arguments that they're using, right? And I feel like they're pissed because they didn't know it was coming. That's why they're mad. They're mad because Dow opened up, dropping 600 points, and S&P, like the stock market opened up, and it looked like everyone was genuinely surprised. Normally, like with the pandemic, remember what happened with Nancy Pelosi? Everything's fine. Nothing's closing. We're good. Right? And then we find out later on, they're doing what? Selling their stocks off, making a bunch of money. So whenever everything did close down, and before, by the way, everything closed down, remember they did that little injection of funds from Congress into the stock market to artificially inflate the stocks. And they sold them. And they made a bunch of money and then played stupid afterwards. This situation, Trump caught everybody, probably including a lot of his administration, off guard. I mean, the dude literally lied about a formula they made up and was like, yeah, man, we had this super complicated formula. No, it wasn't complicated, and that's not the formula I use. And because he didn't tell them this time, right, and they weren't privy to what his plans were, because, I mean, this is kind of extreme even for Trump, to be completely honest with you, and it doesn't really make all that much sense when you get into the weeds of it. But like, they didn't get to make off like bandits this time. That's why they're upset, in my opinion. The billionaires are upset. The corporations are upset because they do business internationally. It's not like they're just based with locations only in the United States. They do business internationally. This affects that. The politicians are upset because they're billionaires, right? They're supposed to be on the same team, Nick. Even if they pretend to hate each other, at the end of the day, they're supposed to be on the same team. Their infighting
is always funny to see. It's always funny to see their infighting and see how they play. Nico.
But not because like a lot of people point out, like, hold on, I thought y'all supported tariffs. That a lot of people have pointed that out. And in the past, Democrats have supported tariffs. Now, I don't know. I don't think that anyone is necessarily against tariffs. Like, I'm not against just holistically tariffs. I think every country should do what's in their best interest. But also, you got to be smart because, Nick, at the end of the day, bro, okay, so you out here doing 54% on China. You out here doing like 90% on some countries. I think, was it Indonesia or some shit like that? Like, crazy on, like, so how being, bro, these tariffs are insane. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if you're going to do something like that, maybe I missed the executive order or the bill that was passed through Congress, investing in all those industries you are claiming you want to help that you know are about to be immediately hurt. I know you invest. You took out an insurance policy before you made this dumbass move, didn't you? No, he did not. No investment in none of those industries. So what's going to happen whenever everybody retaliates? They don't know. They don't know. I'll tell you what's going to happen. Hey, so, ni hao, man. Because if I'm Europe, think about it, Nick.
What's happening?
Okay, I've taken such a hit for this Ukraine bullshit that y'all kind of started, right? The United States. They're aware of it. They got to purchase gas and oil in rubles because of Russia. Russia out here, bro, they out here saying, bro, hey, we don't even give a shit. Y'all don't have to take off the sanctions. This is the best our economy's ever been. right? And Europe is suffering. They got the U.S. is in a trade deficit with the EU, but they supposedly had a relationship that was more or less favorable until these tariffs took off. And now the EU in its entirety is threatening retaliation along with other countries. For the first time, Japan, Korea, and China are working together. Do y'all understand how historic that is? That is crazy, y'all. They all together are like, fuck the U.S. So you definitely invested in these industries you were claiming to help before you pissed off the entire world, right?
Yeah, that's why it's been funny for us because I'm a multipolarist, and there's a lot. If you're like a U.S. flag pumping liberal, this has to be horrifying because a lot of people who are accelerists, and I wouldn't say this is not necessarily why. This is not why I fall at, but I've seen a lot of people making the argument. And this is not what I agree with, because I think we needed a post-duopoly movement to force change. But I've seen people make the argument that, hey, man, if you want to see a multipolar world, if you want to see the rise of China, we want to see Trump win, because Trump and his insane foreign policy will lead to the rise of China. That's exactly what we're seeing now, because once again, the neocon right and the neocon left disagree on how to handle this problem. Because the EU... And I always said it made no sense why the EU hated China, because China has been carrying the EU. They haven't done so much business. So the United States panicking and deciding to tank the global economy as a way that is flipping their table. They're flipping the table over since they know China is on the rise. I see
like the United States didn't help China rise to the position that they're in right now. Like people always use that. Oh, the U.S. shifted off those jobs to China, paid pennies on the dollar. They always and this is a conversation that needs to be had about the tariff situation and why some of them look disproportionate. For pennies on the dollar, they love to say that shit, forgetting that currency valuation is a thing, my guy. When y'all say penny on a dollar, that's okay. Do you know how much that is in China? That's middle class. They're getting paid what they would have been considered middle class wages. To you, it seems like a slave wage because of the currency valuation, you dumb fuck. That's why there are situations where there is actual slave labor overseas. Like, I'm not saying that that's not a thing, but that's not what was happening necessarily in China. China took advantage of a hyper-capitalist United States that was trying to avoid regulatory hurdles that were costing them a little bit of extra money, and it killed the entire industry, or not the entire manufacturing industry, but basically killed them. And now fast forward, China invests in industries that they know are doing well. They don't take advantage or let small companies or bigger companies, big corporations take advantage of a situation and then incentivize them to continue taking advantage of it in a way that only profits them and hurts the working class. For example, let's look at Tesla. Speaking of which, talking about China. Yeah, what's happened? Y'all know Tesla stocks dropped 36%. It's done. Elon, they're trying to force 36% drop in a company, guys, that only exists in its current form, in its current dominance, because the United States did literally everything in its power to help them be established as such. No one else could legitimately compete with the EVs of Tesla. He was able to price gouge. He was able to kind of like to secure his niche. And what was China doing on the other hand? Investing in the entire industry. And now they have BYD that's beating Tesla, but BYD isn't the only EV company in China. The industry is doing well. The EV industry in China is doing well. That's not the case in the United States. And we put all of our eggs in the fucking Elon basket. The Elon basket, who never invented shit. He only was responsible for hostile takeovers.
Yeah.
And couldn't have a successful business without government money. Why would you put all your eggs in that basket instead of incentivizing competition to get the best product? Because that's what China did.
Exactly. Well said. That's why I took a break and I came back this week and I immediately lined up some banger guests. You guys know we had to start off with Niko on Friday. You guys know we had to have Niko on the first Friday to digest everything that's going down. What bothers me, especially with the approach with tariffs, because Trump openly admitted that he planned on taking the economy. He reposted this video, and this is what capitalists do. They purposely tank the economy. I'm not seeing.
They do that.
the way he is doing it, because this is what capitalists do. That's why I said the capitalists crashed the economy again. And they entitled. And he openly said this. So this is a video he posted on his timeline with this guy. He's dick riding Trump. But he missed that, the whole plan is to crash the economy. My question for you guys.
I said that in my hotspot video yesterday, actually. I said, like, yo, this is a controlled crash.
Yeah, I truly believe that this is what they do. Like, people believe that these crashes or accidents, we have boom bust cycles where the capitalists crash the markets, crash the economies, and then they get richer while implementing austerity on the working class. And Donald Trump and Republicans are openly saying that they plan on paying for all the pain with the tariffs with a tax cut for the rich.
Bro, exactly.
So who's going to pay for this? The working class. So for all the businesses who's going to suffer because of this, all the working class people to suffer. Is there a plan? Is there a centralized plan by the government, since they all about central planning now, Niko? They love central planning now. So
big government for the win now. That's crazy how that shit flipped, huh?
So is there a plan to provide health care for like the failing business owner, for the laid off workers? Because markets is a collective of capitalist feelings. So they implement bad policy on purpose, and then their feelings are hurt. So then they pull their money on the market, and then they take it on the working class. That is exactly the plan that Donald Trump has.
Yep. And let me just say, so here's my theory. My working theory is that when Donald Trump came into office, he thought that he was going to have the international pull that he had when he first came in 2016. He had somewhat of a mandate because he was so unpredictable, and no one could kind of like plan out in front. And Joe Biden had messed shit up so badly. And Israel was a little bit more under control. So he could do things like try to pull the CIA out of Syria. It didn't work out, but he could show signs that he is trying to stabilize the world economy, or at least maintain that weird ass that weird ass status quo they had, right? Where everything is stable. I'm not saying it was a good or right, but it was stable for the West, right? You didn't have Russia going to war, like out and out war against Ukraine. That's a huge strain on the economy because of how much it affects the United States and Europe. Israel has lost their fucking mind, and everybody keeps kind of forgetting that Netanyahu's going through these corruption hearings, and and people need to think like the more he gets exposed, the more psychopathic his foreign policy becomes. And we're seeing it. And the more psychopathic his foreign policy becomes, because of where Israel has the most influence, the more oil and petroleum fluctuates, which also affects the economy. So all of these problems are happening internationally, right? And Trump, in his mind, believed, in his heart and soul, I really think he thought, I'm about to come in here, I'm about to put my dick on the table, and everything's and I'm about to heal the economy again, at least temporarily while I'm in office. What actually ends up happening is he tries to get a minerals deal with Ukraine done, which, by the way, when you think about it, I'm not exactly sure how the fuck that was supposed to just create peace between Russia and Ukraine. I'm not sure how you doing the minerals deal with Ukraine. You doing the minerals deal with Ukraine somehow fixes the war between Russia and Ukraine. But that's what he believed. Cool. But then at some point, Zelensky was like, hold up, man. I think that you need this deal, because what people don't know is that Ukraine has some of the largest untapped lithium deposits in all of Europe, and they need that shit. Why? Because China and EVs, and the U.S. is losing that war. So what does he do? Yeah, I want to be part of NATO. I thought that I was cool with this deal, but I realized I want to be part of NATO. Meanwhile, Putin's like, I really don't give a fuck what Zelensky signs. He's not the president, so I don't recognize it. That's what he said. So basically, there will be no deal with Zelensky as long as he is sitting there. Okay, so how the fuck you in that war? Because that war is a huge strain on the economy. So you can't control that. You damn sure ain't controlling Israel, right? What I see with this Yemen situation, you are depriving 50,000 civilians of water. Yes, because you getting your ass whooped. That's what that tells me. You can't beat the military, so you got to go after the civilians. So you're not even in control of the Red Sea situation the way you would like to be. So in other words, you just found out over the last 2 to 3 months, oh fuck, I can't stop this downward spiral that was caused by the Biden administration, because I don't have anywhere near the pool I thought I did. I can't control these international circumstances like I thought I could. And Israel has lost their mind, and I'm not about to I can't piss them off. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of pleased to see that the 17% on Israel went through even after Israel took all the duties and tariffs off of the US beforehand. Like they got word beforehand and took everything off, and Trump still gave them tariffs, which is wild. But outside of that, he's not gonna piss off Israel. So they're gonna keep doing what the fuck they want to do and destabilizing the world. So yeah, gotta go into a controlled crash. Fuck it. If we gonna crash the plane, we're gonna try to glide this bitch on the harbor, okay? And give a parachute for the wealthiest of the world, or the wealthiest of the country and the elites to land softer than the rest of us. But best believe we're crashing, and it's just a controlled crash. And he's gets to hide behind the tariff, saying what? Oh, it's a temporary hit for a long-term gain. It's for y'all's benefit, right? Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit more expensive right now, but it's gonna get better. And he can blame the tariffs for the temporary hit instead of just saying it was shit policy. Exactly. Because if once again, you could have just if you're gonna do this, I'm not saying it's inherently right or wrong, but if you're gonna do this, bro, invest in the industries that you claim you want to help. Because we ain't going back to 1995, motherfucker. Everything's automated as it is. So that whole manufacturing jobs talking point, it's not going down like that. So what exactly was your plan after you introduced all these tariffs?
Why do you guys think the ruling class has been so desperate to build cop cities all over this country over the last decade? Why do you guys think they changed the definition of what a domestic terrorist is? They cracked down on protest laws and made them even more restrictive.
Mm-hmm.
You have the capital class that's preparing for this controlled demolition. Even before the tariffs, there was, and we talked about this before, Niko, people were predicting a big crash. The upcoming 5 to 8 years was coming. We gotta know capitalism usually crashes every 5 to 8 years. It was coming. So now, and this is what I see, and I would love to hear pushback on this, but my theory was Trump seen this coming. He saw the writing as the wall, and you just explained this as well. They're seeing the writing as the wall, so they taking their ball and going home. They're kicking the table up, and they want to say we did this tariff plan. And that's gonna be the capitalist class excuse for everything to happen.
This motherfucker really, bro. He announced to the world that hey, we about to fuck all y'all. And he announced via a poster. This motherfucker put out a poster board, like a product that your kids do for their 5th grade class, and actually thought he was doing some shit. Like he was so proud of that poster board that it looked like it was just put together that morning. I couldn't believe it when I was like, no. And I saw the initial, like, I just saw one of the lists. I didn't realize that the list was so extensive. I started like going through Twitter and shit. I'm like, hold up, there's more? And I'm looking at all the countries and all these. I'm like, there is no way you gonna piss off everybody. Everybody, Nick. What was crazy? So here's it. So from the Brazil perspective, I just want to talk about this because I found it very interesting that Lula got rewarded. Because people forget that Venezuela is not part of BRICS. And that's also another part of the whole puzzle that everybody got to remember. BRICS is coming. It's really here already. Lula used Brazil's veto power to keep Venezuela out of BRICS, despite the fact they've had a long-standing relationship where they've supported each other. It's easier for a Venezuelan to get a Brazilian citizenship or a Brazilian residency than an American. That's what kind of relationship they've historically had. But a lot of people have already been made aware. Lula was kind of picked to come back because they scared the shit out of him when they arrested him he wasn't even really charged. It was just the accusations got him arrested while he was president. So when they let him back in, everybody was like, that's not good. And out of all the countries in Latin America, it's Argentina and Brazil that maintain the baseline. Everybody else got smacked. And I was like, what? No way. This is Lula. Why would Trump? Venezuela. Damn. That's what it, because you got, bro, American products, dog, are expensive as shit to bring in to Brazil. Like, expensive. It is hard to get American. I can't just send my iPhone, for example, like just my iPhone. They know it's mine. It's under my name. I got a receipt for it and everything I already paid for. If I try to send that shit to myself, I got to pay basically for another phone. It's like paying for another iPhone. And yet Brazil, with this crazy cool formula that he invented that isn't really being used. Somehow Brazil was able to avoid the tariffs that the rest of Latin America, except for Argentina, and we know that's his boy Milei. So, right, except for Argentina, Brazil and Lula were able to avoid the tariffs that everybody else is about to face. Basically, that's strange until you remember that Venezuela BRICS move was, I mean, that was not a breaking point, but it was a pivotal moment where the BRICS superpower movement could have shifted everything in that, like, instantly. And even though Russia is still doing a deal with Venezuela, that's not the same thing, right? We know that. So, and it also shows that there's going to be a tumultuous relationship between Venezuela and Brazil going forward, which could present problems for BRICS overall if they don't get it together. So it's the whole thing. Like I said, it doesn't make any sense outside of like what you just said. It looks like a controlled crash, and it looks like there was some favoritism that was played, but not in a traditional way. But it doesn't look like this was planned through all that well. Who came up with? I want to know who came up with the plan. I really want to know. Like, first of all, who came up with the lie that we're gonna put out this formula that, like, and we're gonna claim that we use this formula.
You saw that too. I want your thoughts on this, Niko, because I never pretend to be an expert in tariffs, but they claim that they want to apply these tariffs will jack up the cost of goods, which when Americans are struggling with the cost of goods crisis, so because they claim that manufacturing jobs will come back. But that is very unlikely, because in order for manufacturing to come back, you must have capital that is willing to invest long term, which they will not do in massive instability. Because the argument that the Trump administration is making, which is contradictory, because they're saying, oh, there won't be inflation, it will be counterinflationary. Now, if there are tariffs that leads to counterinflation, would mean prices will drop. That's actually a bad thing for the economy, because that means demand drop. So when tariffs go down, that means that the businesses try to raise prices, but the demand drops so much that prices were forced to come down, which shows the overall less spending and usually leads to an economic crisis. Now, if that happened, you won't have the investment that will bring manufacturing jobs back. Am I getting that correct? Well, I'm not an expert, but more
or less right. Like, counterinflation is like the word. Like, what we don't want is, we don't want inflation, but we also don't want counterinflation, because both of those things are like inorganic. Both of those things are caused by external circumstances that what's the word in English? Oh, that artificially create prices. What we want is a natural flowing movement of price.
Yeah,
supply and demand, right? Even though I don't like that's a whole different thing. But like, we want, if we are going to engage in a quote unquote free market economy, we want a supply and demand driven price range based off of true competition, and that's not what we're getting. And also, I don't understand how taxing or fucking Indonesia, who's like sending us coffee, for example, how that gonna bring back manufacturing jobs?
That's a great point.
Like that's the shit. Like, when you go and look at the main export, or how Trump said, first of all, Canada, even though y'all remember literally a couple weeks ago, it was all about 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada. In this new tariff era, they're actually exempt from these tariffs. Even though he simultaneously puts out a tweet saying, we're going to tax, I bullshit you not. Not a tweet, put it on True Social. He said that we're going to tax the fentanyl that Canada is sending in. I swear to fucking
Americans
God,
can never take responsibility for their drug problems.
that part. And you gonna tax fentanyl? Bro, I ain't never heard no shit like that in my life. I said, you gonna tax the illegal shit that you can't keep track of, and explain that one to me. And no one, in the magazines, people just yay. I'm like, he said he's gonna tax fentanyl. How the fuck are you gonna tax something that you can't keep track of? Because otherwise you're admitting that you are keeping track of it. You do have a way to trace it, and you're just not preventing it. Because we all know every drug epidemic in the United States it's either been allowed by the U.S. government or perpetuated, or usually a mixture of both. Let's be clear about that. So whether you're looking at the opioid epidemic in the pharmaceutical industry with legal drug abuse, or the cocaine era, or the fentanyl era, which we're in right now, the government's probably involved, which is the only reason it's getting through. So like, let's keep it a ban. But at the end of the day, like Canada and Mexico are actually absolved from these new tariffs, even though like he's still acting like they're not. And it's just bizarre. The whole situation is just so bizarre. And I am even surprised, Nick, at how Biden-esque this administration and the
you beat me to it. You beat me to it because that's exactly what I was going to cover in the Yemen segment, how the Biden administration's foreign policy is essentially being repeated by Trump, which is exactly what I said was going to happen. People didn't believe me at the time. None of these clowns, you guys think of reality TV game show hosts is going to dismantle the direction of the deep state and what they have planned? Because there are a lot of people who claim that the foreign policy establishment had planned. I know Jeffrey Sachs, he does a great breakdown of how the United States was planning, and they had to list all these countries they wanted to destabilize, and they are going through that list. Iran is next, and that was like on the list as well. So do you guys think that Trump was going to dismantle that? And he's following the foreign policy decision almost in a more embarrassing way than Biden, because he's like, man, I think Biden, he didn't go hard enough against Yemen. I'm gonna go way harder. And the only thing he did was waste more money. Like the rate was going on. That was like the main premise of my hotspot was the massive amount of money that he's wasting. And now the tanking of the economy, the endless war, conflict, the incompetence. And there are a lot of people who pissed. I want to share this, and then we can dive more into geopolitics here. But I saw this. And my cousin was texting me. I got to switch. Bro, you guys don't want to meet me on the sticks with Mario Kart or Super Smash Brothers, man. Let me tell you. So,
bro, I'll be on that. I'll be on both of them. Busting my son ass. He be getting mad.
We had a family get together. If you guys think I was going to let them win in Mario Kart, you're out of your goddamn mind.
No. Oh, bro, I'd rather take an L in Super Smash Brothers than Mario Kart.
I was like, nah, man. I got to teach you guys the hard way, man. We're not holding.
Hey. Because Mario Kart L's hurt more because of how they be happening, right? Because you got to be strategizing like my brother got this strategy where he won't go any further than third place for like the first 2 laps because of that motherfucking blue shell. Like, because he knows like it's coming. If I stay in first place too long, that's my ass. And now I'm going from 3rd to 8th. Like,
yeah. The reason I bring this up is because my cousin texted me. My brother texted me because they big fans of, they're big gamers. We're a big gaming family, right? So this is something that ordinary people are like, wait, what the fuck is Trump doing here? And I told you, my family is apolitical as fuck. And the internet is crashing out. All the nerds are crashing out because the Nintendo Switch was just announced. It was all this excitement. Now that's being pushed back. So complete other political suicide. Like
hell nah, bro. I was about to get mine.
Yeah, they changed the date to like April to like June or something. Like the point that I am making is that this is gonna be failed.
Real shit. I just ordered my son's birthday his birthday party is on the 12th. His birthday is the 8th. I pre-ordered it for him, bro.
Yeah, I was trying to play a new Mario Kart, but they talking about the game's gonna be $80. Now it's gonna be even more now.
Dog, like that's I might have to have a fucking conversation after this goddamn stream. I had no idea. I need to check my email. Apparently, what?
Yeah, bro. People are
that's
fucking
so
furious.
wild.
Bro, the anime profile picture folks, they are fucking furious. Like I said, it was like literally an hour before we went live, and like Nintendo was like top trending now. People are fucking crashing out,
bro.
Over this shit. And we just getting started.
Bro, you can't play with it. Hey, Nintendo been around since the Dog Pound, dog. Like that's like Sam. It ain't never like did Mario wrong, bro.
Man, I'm an old school gamer. I'm like,
dog.
You fuck with Nintendo, man. People get serious. You wait to sleep and dragon up.
That's family, but that's family fun. That's wholesome family fun, bro. Like I love Nintendo because it's some things when you get it right, bro. Just do it better. Just keep doing the same thing, but just a little bit better every time. And I'm gonna be okay with it. And I love it because you don't gotta pay to play, basically. Not like with PlayStation nowadays. Like I got a PS5, I don't even turn that bitch on anymore because everything is pay to play to compete, right? Yeah. So with Smash Brothers, it's me and you, cuz.
Oh yeah,
it's me and you, online, in person, wherever. You ain't no power up you can buy that's gonna save you from this ass whooping. Okay, that's why I fucks with Nintendo. Yep. But in all seriousness, like this is how much like a Nintendo Switch, for example. I worked at Best Buy. So whenever I worked at Best Buy back in the day, bro, it was when the Wii dropped. And for some reason, everybody thought that the Wii wasn't popular because people weren't buying it. But what was happening was, no, it was everybody waiting for Christmas. And for like 2 months until Christmas, bro, we never had a Wii in stock.
I still think it's the best-selling console ever. I believe
it probably, and rightfully so, right? In the Switch being as popular as it is, given that it has so many of the characteristics of the Wii, like they basically just evolved the Wii and made it handheld. I mean, it's a genius concept, but like it starts off with Nintendo Switches. Y'all think that shit's small potatoes, but like you got GameStops closing already, the malls are already suffering, right? There's like the places that sell these items are already suffering. And now they're not going to be able to get the new shit that they count on. They've already built into their profits, or excuse me, they already built into their what they believe they're going to profit or what they believe they're going to end up owing whatever quarter. And everybody's going to have to remake everything. Their budgets are shot. No one knows how this is going to turn out anymore. And that's once again, now we're in a worldwide situation. A world economy is about to suffer. And I just don't understand. I promise you, I'm confused. I just don't understand it.
There are people who support Trump that are confused. One of my favorite genres of politics is capitalists not understanding their own system. That's one of my favorite systems. Like, because capitalist economists disagree with each other all the time. Like, bro, do you guys even know how your own goddamn system works?
They don't.
So that's my favorite genre, one of my favorite genre of politics. And this is a video I saw earlier today. Once again, our hotspot, not only do we have our bangers, we have our account that put out all these banger videos. We hit 34K. Now, make sure you got to follow hotspot on X, man. If you're not, you're missing out. But let me watch this video, because I saw this video before I went live. I decided to play it because I want to show you guys how capitalists don't even understand what the fuck going on. Like, whenever you ask them, like, hey, if you ever want to be entertained, ask a capitalist what happened in 2008. And watch how many they're gonna give you. They're gaslighters, they're bullshitters, and they want people to be ignorant.
Or just ask them why capitalism hasn't worked so far. Just ask them that. That's just fun. I love doing that.
Yeah. Feel free. I'm gonna play the video, then Niko, you can respond afterward, because there's just I think this video funny, showing how people don't understand what the fuck they're talking about.
I'm voting for the man that's going to take America back, baby. Donald J. Trump, man.
What's one of your biggest issues?
Probably going to be inflation, because I sell T-shirts and all that stuff.
Your T-shirts are made in the USA?
No, my blanks, no. See, that's the thing Trump's talking about. If we tax them, hit tariffs, the same item they're making over there will cost the same to make over here.
We pay the tariffs.
Well, the companies pay the tariffs, not us.
China doesn't pay the tariffs. We do when they come in.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Like if I'm buying 1,000 shirts from China and there's a tariff on it, I'm paying the tariff.
Well, no.
So the shirt that you're already buying in China
is going to pay the tariff.
Yeah. I'm the business owner. I'm paying the tariff. China doesn't pay it. I pay for it. Well, like if I'm the business owner and I buy 1,000 shirts.
I see what you're saying.
China's not.
Hey, respect to him. Hey, respect to capitalists. Yeah. Because normally that's when they start going crazy on you. That's when they start amping on you. And they're like, oh shit, hold up, what? Hold on. So what you saying is the inflation I'm already paying is about to get higher? Yeah. Yeah. You getting your shit. You thought that you was paying a lot, but that's, bro, we're still paying for NAFTA. Like we're paying, I don't know if we'll ever stop paying for it. And I mean, China's not paying for it. They're still benefiting from it, from the U.S.'s dumbassity and their greed. But U.S. citizens are still paying for NAFTA. And I'm not sure we'll ever recover from it because China knows how to plan more than 2 years in advance. Right? Like, I don't know if you recover from that plan because that's something you would have had to plan to prevent from hurting your economy. I don't know, maybe like fucking 30 years ago. Damage already done. Because now, well, like I said earlier, if I'm the EU, because you just heard, I don't know if y'all saw it, but the chairwoman of the EU, she came out and was like, yeah, man, we about to retaliate if you don't fix this shit. Is she not the only one who said that? And if you are the EU who's already, they pretend to hate China once again, but we know what time it is for real. What you gonna do? You know what? Fuck them. We about to go. Hey, we about to start speaking Chinese, buddy. Let them BYDs come in. Let them BYDs. Fuck Tesla. Let them BYDs come in. Let them Chinese cars start flowing. Let's start bringing because you got to do something. You got to do something in the only other economy that can compete independently with the United States, that can keep up with the manufacturing productivity is China. And it would probably be cheaper because they're doing everything in-house. Hey, look. I'm really about to put my kid in a Chinese immersion school. I'm not even playing because I just don't see a world where China is not the dominant economic. I mean, they kind of already are. Like BYD beat Tesla. And they can't. Tesla can sell in China. Tesla sells in China. Tesla sells in the US. Tesla sells in the UK and all the EU. BYD sells in China, a couple of other countries in East Asia, and a couple of countries in Latin America. And not in the US. And BYD bust their ass. Yeah. And Tesla fell 36%. And Elon Musk is getting pushed out.
This guy's so dumbfounded by the stupidity of this guy. They wonder if he's a fake actor. And to be clear, you will never know. You never know when people fake these videos. But this is the same argument that Trump is.
Are all actors fake actors? That's like saying a made up word. Like, aren't all words made up?
I won't ever discount the fact that he may or may not be real, but this is the argument that Trump people use. This is like when I hear Trump talk about terrorists, he's like, no, the other country pay. I'm like, wait, he literally gaslight people. Like, because people start like, hold up, is he? Let me look at the book. I swear to God, that's not true. Like, and he would say 100% confident. So whether this guy is an actor or not, he represents a real political ideology.
His excitement, by the way, made me. I think that he's real. Like that's literally when I've encountered people like that, and they get so hype about their arguments, like the way he did, and then he was kind of like taken aback, like, "Oh shit, hold up, maybe let me stop talking real quick," like because the Duke was repeatedly, "Look, this is what it is," and then he stopped to think about, "Oh shit, yeah, you're right," because that would make sense, and he was kind of had to shut up because he realized he sounded stupid. I feel like he's not an actor. I feel like that was a real engagement, but. Either way, it's still the arguments they make. Nick, real quick, did you see that Piers Morgan interview about the tariffs? That clip where the Highness...
If you want to watch it, we can watch it if you want to put it in the chat.
Bro,
let's finish this clip here.
Go ahead, I got to send it to you. You need to see this woman make the argument that China is using Mexico and Canada to sneak in cars and avoid tariffs.
Yeah, find the clip. I haven't watched it, but we can watch it live. Hold that thought. I'm gonna finish the clip and then we can comment and we can move on to the next part. Sure. I'm actually curious to see how this is gonna end here.
China doesn't pay it. I pay for it. Right, like if I'm the business owner and I buy 1,000 shirts,
I see what you're saying.
China's not Jolly. So I'm trying to explain.
Who pays the tariff? They're paying the tariff.
Do you think that? You believe that?
Because I was trying to say, because I sell merch as well.
I sell you something for $10, right? You're going to sell it to him for $20.
Exactly.
But then I make you pay me $15 for it. Are you still going to sell it to him for $20?
I'm not going to sell it to him for $20.
If I raise the price $5.
Oh, it's gonna have to go up.
Right.
So
yeah,
that was a great job by that guy. That was a great way to explain it very quickly. I give that guy props. And you guys see how he had to bring the other guy in? These people were like, they confusing people. Like Trump is confusing people. So you're like, hold on, let me check. I'm pretty sure this motherfucker lying. And so that's a great way to explain it.
But we know it's on. He's lying. He's not confusing people on accident. It's on purpose, and he's lying.
Yep, absolutely. Trump is absolutely lying. 100%.
Where is it at? Is it this one? No, this isn't it. Hold on, I'm gonna find that hoe. I covered it yesterday during my live stream, so I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, I'll read for you super chats as you're looking for it. Thank you, Eric. Wait till we get the AI China sex robots, the Belt and Booty Initiative.
Yeah,
that's gonna be dark. Thanks for the 999. The reason why that shit's gonna be really dark, because what if you get a sex robot that looks like someone you know? Anyway, it's fucking weird, man. I don't know, man. It's just I think our society, porn culture is getting out of control.
It's true, but if this time y'all crazy white people raping fucking people, I guess that's better than sex, exploiting women, I guess. Found it.
No, man, it's dark. What if someone get a sex robot and that shit look young?
Hey,
that shit get really fucking dark real fast.
It gets dark because it was the darkest part is y'all act like y'all gonna be able to afford these sex robots, motherfucker. This economy is crash. Y'all gonna afford those sex robots.
I think it's good because at least hopefully it would decrease the amount of creeps out there, I guess. But that shit's dark.
Yeah,
man. I guess I'm still old school minded, man. That's so dark. Right. Anyway, let's move on. Thanks for 999, Jonathan. So, is this the? Oh yeah, I see the link now. I'm gonna read this super chat, and one I saw earlier, and then we can cover that. And then I want to cover just a few headlines I saw coming out. Israel, obviously, there was a vote in the Senate where they voted to continue to arm Israel. We'll cover a few more headlines, then we'll begin.
Which is crazy. They could have voted to actually get rid of these tariffs. They could have did that.
Yeah, but we'll get to that soon. Let me read the last two chats here. Then I'll pull this clip up. Thank you, Jonathan. Trump's tariff presupposed there's an American-made product for us to buy at a lower price. Most of the times there isn't. Absolutely well said, Jonathan. So I just saw scrolling by, like, Fox News removed like the market dial below the screen for the first time ever. I gotta find it again. Like, bro, it's bad. And a lot of people who support Trump.
It's a cold, Nick. It's so, bro, it's weird. We lying about the stock market. We gonna just, and they gotta take that shit out, dog. We can't even show. Cause we can't even defend the shit. Whenever they get to the point when they can't defend Trump's act, they're like, we just gonna act like it ain't happening. Then just gonna.
I tried to see if I can find it. I saw it earlier. I didn't save it. They literally took off the market indicator or whatever. And this is what pissed me off about capitalists, because you guys know, like, most Americans don't have money in the market, right? 60% of Americans don't have money
in the stock market.
But despite that, capitalists still take it out on us. Like, they were like, no, fuck your retirement fund, fuck we'll lay workers off. They find a way to make us pay for it. So I know
that's a great point.
In general, the stock market doesn't matter to us, but that reflects their feelings. And since they implement austerity, like they're already planning a tax cut for the rich for this, they use this market, the feelings of the capitalists, as a way to punish the workers, for recreation. Like, we're gonna blame you for us fucking the economy up. But that's a whole other conversation. Go ahead, Niko.
There are pension plans that are locked up and tied up into the stock market. So, like, maybe you don't personally invest into it, but like your company's pension plans invest in the stock market. Your 401k is invested in the stock market. Like, there are things that are like where you're not buying stocks per se, but your livelihood is affected by the stock market. And pension plans are what people were worried about yesterday. They're like, hold up, I did not get a say in these tariffs, and these stocks just took a dip because nobody was prepared for this. But this is why, I don't invest in the stock market. Once I realized it was fake, I was like, yeah, I'm not betting my life on the fucking stock market. I got to figure some other shit out, right? Like, maybe if you're one of the people who do like low risk, just constant invest, that's one thing. But doing these high risk investments and like literally investing your livelihood into like hoping that you retire at a time where your 401k is actually worth some shit, like, bro, that's terrifying. I know some people don't have a choice, but like, it's still terrifying. There needs to be, like, why the fuck can they keep getting away with this? I'm just dog.
So I had to look this up too. They said, and I don't know, man. It seemed like bullshit to me, Robbie. It says only 62% of U.S. adults own stocks. That seemed a lot. That seemed like a lot. But I said 60. It says 62% of Americans.
I think that's higher than it.
I think the most important
you can buy parts of shares, like you can buy shares of shares now. You don't have to buy the whole share like you used to. Once Bitcoin and cryptocurrency became booming, like, they started allowing you to buy pieces of shares instead of the whole shares in some cases.
Yeah, this is I try to find the exact number, because I think the most important stat, they love throwing that stat out to make it seem the economy more equitable than it actually is. The most important thing is the percentage of the stock. Like, the working class is owned only a very small percent. I'm trying to find the exact number. I see this headline. I'm trying to fact check myself. The richest 1% own the greatest share of the stock market than ever before. Baby bonds on only 1% are owned. Oh shit! So 1%, the top 1% own like half of the market, according to this stat here. Does anyone know the accurate stat in the chat? Anyway, there's like an insane stat, like the top 1% own half of the market. So that's why, like, the stock doesn't really matter to the working class. It's just the capitalists take out the frustration of the market on the working class. That when you see programs that are designed to give corporate bailouts, designed to bail out the rich while implementing harsh, rigid and
you want to know how much the working class owns, or the 1% owns?
See how much the 1%, how much stock does the 1% own? hold on, let me read. It said the rich now own a record share of stocks. Here's one. The top 10% hold 93%. Oh, Jesus Christ. See, fuck that other stat. You know that stat that says 60% of Americans have stock? Fuck that. That stat means nothing. The top 10% own 93%.
And the top 1% own 50% of the total value of US. Bro, that's insanity.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Bro, we don't own shit. Basically, like your little $2 that you throwing in, a little $1,000, that shit that's nothing.
And that's another point I wanted to make to a liberal. I still wanted to make sure I hold Trump feet to the fire. But for everyone that's saying that, I seen actually I do have a stock to show you guys. Jen Psaki and Democrats are already doing this thing where they saying Kamala was right. Kamala was right. She came out and said, "Oh my God, I told you guys." No, motherfucker, under Joe Biden, the top 1% literally made a record amount of money. So yeah, Trump is engaging in a self-demolition of the economy, but you guys did too. You guys oversaw the massive transfer of wealth from the working class to the top 1%. So guys, I'm dissing Trump and we should go hard at Trump at this, but don't let Democrats get out of this because I know that Trump is trying his best to revive the Democratic Party. He's doing his part. He's trying his best, but we cannot let Democrats because they are taking the victory lap. No, nigga, you are responsible for the tanking of the wealth of the working class too. All you motherfuckers.
That's how Republicans won at the local levels and at the congressional level because y'all sucked and no one came out to fucking vote for y'all. Because if Trump would have won because of him being popular, which would have been a very realistic possibility, and y'all maybe take the House and they keep the Senate or vice versa, y'all could have prevented a lot of this shit. But y'all were so horrible, and no one wanted to hold Biden accountable, and y'all didn't want to hold each other accountable while the threat of Trump was looming. Now we're in a situation where Republicans and Republicans are controlling the House and the Senate, and they're controlling local governments, and Trump can do what the fuck he wants to. And y'all complain about it. And y'all not even, what's crazy is, while secretly signing off on his fucking agenda half the time, behind the scenes. That's what's crazy. Voting for the shit. They'd be voting for half the shit the Republicans be introducing. All right, I'm telling you, a Republican, or excuse me, really a Republican's wet dream is when a Democrat becomes president, because a lot of the shit Republicans want to do, they do it while Democrats are president. But also, when Republicans are president or they have control over the House or the Senate, Democrats just let them do what the fuck they want to do so that they can use it to run against them the next time. Either way, the Republicans win.
I'm looking up some stats here, because look at this cringe here. Look at it. Kamala, how fucking dare you? Because I wasn't planning on doing a segment. I'll just cover it in passing here. Because she's doing this thing where she's like, and all the liberals I told you guys, Kamala Harris had an economic degree. And Kamala says, I'm not here to say I told you so. And I pull up this stat because I'm trying to get the exact number. There are all these interpretations where I see one that said the top 1% gained $2 trillion in wealth in 2023 alone under Biden economics. As the Americans were struggling so much under Democrats, they heard Trump's bullshit about tariff, and they were like, they got to be better than fucking with Biden.
I ain't never had no tariffs for lunch, but that shit got to be better than whatever I had. It's true.
I need to put together another.
Bro, you gotta think about it. Because genocide was still on the table, and people, for example, the situation with Yemen, we got to remember that Trump enabled the genocide that was happening in Yemen at the hands of Saudi Arabia. We were right; they were funding it. That wasn't really going to change as much either. Even though that really didn't even benefit U.S. interests, even though we were funding it, we knew that the genocide was already underway, right? So that wasn't going to change. The only hope that they kind of had was I guess Russia, and maybe we shouldn't reward genocide. At least that was the only hope that we had. That and you're like, I told you so. What? That the genocide is continuing and that the world economy is shit. Yeah, we knew that under you. You didn't tell us anything we didn't know. The problem is still you though. That's the fucking problem. You didn't tell us anything new. You just I told you he was going to be like me.
Speaking of, you. That's such a great transition, Niko.
Congratulations, right?
That's such a great transition, Niko, because we have Cory Booker, who made shit-lib history. Democrats love this, where Cori Bush had a 25-hour Trump derangement syndrome speech where he decried Trump for destroying the rule of law in the United States. And as he complained about Donald Trump destroying the rule of law, he voted to send bombs to a country that is charged by the ICC for committing war crimes. And this goes to a great transition, though, because we have two parties in the Democratic Party. Their plan to oppose Donald Trump is to support genocide harder, to agree with him on his foreign policy.
Y'all lost Michigan because of this shit. We literally took. And hey, Nick, do you remember what did I say? I said they lose Michigan, that's it, and they're going to lose Michigan. And people thought I was like kind of like going out on a limb by saying, I'm like, no, like they're talking about voting against Kamala, not merely voting for Jill Stein. A lot of them did that. They're like, nah, fuck Kamala. Fuck the Democrats. Y'all are killing our people. We're not going to reward it. And I'm sure they're going to treat Trump or whoever comes up next in kind if they support the same type of policies. And y'all, like Nick said, like y'all solution to get the House back or get the Senate back or win the presidency back is to continue the same shit y'all just got done doing. And everybody told y'all that's why they didn't vote for you. They gave you the answer to the test. And you're like, okay, so I know you said this is 3, but what if it's 5? Motherfucker, it's 3. But what? It could be 5, though. I'm telling you it's not. It's 3. I'm going to put 5 just in case. I'm just going to hedge my bet.
So Israel is currently bombing cancer hospitals. You know, just like Donald Trump is doing in Yemen. Isn't it interesting how Israel and the United States is working together to completely shred international law? So Israel, and you can argue that Barack Obama started the trend, but Israel, especially with their siege of Gaza, normalized the use of bombing hospitals. And the United States and Israel bombed a cancer hospital recently. So as Cory Booker and Democrats pretend that they are the unique answer to Donald Trump, they voted against Bernie's bill. And by the way, I'm glad that Bernie Sanders finally decided that forcing a vote is a good strategy, because Bernie Sanders, good on him for this one action, good for him on this action. Bernie Sanders forced a vote on whether we should arm Israel, knowing that vote would
interesting that he didn't do that. Why didn't he do that during Biden? Why didn't he do that while Biden was president? And when they had the
Bernie, knowing that vote wouldn't pass, he did it because he wanted to get a record of the senators who voted pro-Israel. So Bernie, now that Republicans in charge, is now implementing the same strategy that the progressive managerial class rejected when Biden was in charge. Isn't that interesting? That he's forcing the vote on. Anyway, that's a side point I just can't help but ignore.
It has to be said. Go ahead. It got to be said. It got to be, because why didn't you do this already? The genocide didn't start yesterday. Damn sure didn't start the Trump presidency. And y'all had Kamala. Remember the Miss Tiebreaker that was never breaking ties whenever she needed it? Like you feel me? Like you could have what it takes to pass that type of shit. You could have prevented funding. You could have at least roadblocked it. You could have stalled it, is what we're learning. And you know that you could do that, and you chose to not, because you know that this money's still going to reach Israel. Like, and at the end of the day, like if what's crazy about Bernie is I don't even know if he's a raging Zionist. He's just a fucking selfish piece of shit and a clout chaser. It's worse, honestly.
Yeah, he don't take AIPAC money. Isn't it crazy that they don't take AIPAC money, but you still don't call it a genocide? He said,
"You a cheap ass motherfucking sellout." That's the crazy
cheap asshole. Bernie and AOC cheap assholes.
$2 prostitute ass. I sent that clip.
Oh yeah, my bad. I forgot we were supposed to watch that video. Yeah, let's get to that video. So anyway, we can close the segment here. Almost like a quick segment about Democrats voting for Israel. So that we can end it here. We have 15 Senate Democrats that did that. Good for Bernie for forcing the vote. I'll give him props for that. But you know, I'm a Bernie hater. Fuck that guy. Overall, still annoys the challenge. But I'm glad he did that. I will say that. You guys know it's hard for me to give Bernie props, knowing what role he played. So it's like, yeah, he did a good thing here, but still fuck you.
A little bit too late, as usual, right?
Yeah, because he wouldn't do this if a Democrat was in charge. Because they know that forcing the vote is a good strategy. You just did it. You guys
can't do it because like that's too good of a strategy. We can't do that shit. They're gonna do it all the time. They're gonna expect us to always do that if we actually implement that strategy. Yeah, motherfucker. That's exactly what we expect for y'all to do. Yeah, we can't do that.
So whatever. I guess good job, asshole. I guess. That's I can say. So you guys know I'm salty as fuck. I am. I just am. Sorry.
Bruh.
Good job, asshole.
Good
Anyway,
job,
I haven't seen this clip, so feel free to preface it with anything you want to say. But I'm gonna dive right into it.
Oh no, I'm gonna let them cook. You gonna hear that shit? Just listen to the passion of her stupidity. Just go ahead.
So this is Nick and Niko, one of my favorite shows to do. So I guess this is Niko's segment for the show. So let's watch the show. We'll see what they're talking about. I already see this panel. I see Jank. I see Pierre. This is gonna be a heart attack. I see that's Carrie Lake. Oh Jesus Christ! This is gonna be something else. I'm going blind. Let's watch it.
It's silent.
Is the sound working?
No, it's silent.
All right. Good catch. Sometimes I don't know why it doesn't.
It should be happening to me too.
Yeah, is it like a glitch? All you gotta do is refresh the page and it'll work. Just let me know if it's silent again. Let me start again.
What I find so frustrating about the conversation around tariffs is that we all agree on the problem. We all agree that the deindustrialization of America led to the downward mobility of the American working class, deaths of despair, people working multiple jobs and not being able to afford the American dream. We all agree that it is deeply unfair for the American middle class to be bearing the burden of unfair tariffs from other countries. We all agree that it is great for the president to have leverage in order to demand reasonable things like that countries stop allowing fentanyl to murder.
So on this point, you want to know what's hilarious about this? Because MAGA say, well, don't you know Trump is using tariff as a negotiation? That doesn't make sense when Trump said, hey, there's nothing that's going to change my mind. I'm doing this tariff. Like, nigga, if Trump said you're not going to change your mind, there's nothing to negotiate over. just to destroy this little point real quick. Because they are not using tariffs as a way to negotiate because China called the United States weeks ago. During the first Trump administration, China was like, can we negotiate our way out of these tariffs? And Trump said, nope, we're doing these tariffs no matter what you do. So you are not using as a negotiation tactic. That is just a dumbass, lame talking point that they use. But go ahead, Niko.
And Israel literally removed all of the duties and tariffs. And they're like, yeah, but y'all gonna hold it 17% still. Here you go. Hold that. Reciprocity. I don't think that actually anyone in the U.S. government knows what the fuck that word means. I feel like that is just not an SAT word a lot of them got right. Because I'm like, they do know what reciprocity actually means. Like that means like we do some shit and you do some shit, like quid pro quo, like igualmente, like equity, like yeah. What we really meant was we just trying to catch up. We trying to catch up on our counts. Y'all got a surplus, we got a deficit, and we trying to catch up. That's actually what this whole thing is about, especially with China. Because if you did reciprocity, not because it wouldn't even inherently be anything wrong with reciprocity. The problem is that's not what you're doing, and because it wouldn't really fix anything with the countries you need to fix it with. Doing reciprocity with China still gives China the advantage because you owe them money, not the other way around, and they know that. But they use this reciprocity, and they're like, "Yeah, my base is fucking stupid." They have no idea what that word means, but we gonna say it because it sounds good.
Damn. So I went back a few seconds. I'm gonna continue to play it. She mentioned fentanyl. I bet she blames America's drug problem on someone else. I bet you. These people refuse to take responsibility. They refuse. Everything they project onto our communities, Niko, is what they do. They refuse to take responsibility.
Star David. If it's a star, she wearing Star David. You know there's some projection. You already know there's some projection. You know that. You already know what time it is. Every accusation is a confession.
Come on, man. You gotta get serious, man. You gotta get serious. All right, let's continue. You're killing me, man. Let's continue.
That it is great for the president to have leverage in order to demand reasonable things like that countries stop allowing fentanyl to murder 100,000 Americans every year.
Sorry, nigga. So it's China's fault. It's Mexico's fault. It's not the United States' fault for creating life of despair for working class people. It's not America creating meaningless lives for workers where they have nothing going for them, where they work like factory robots 60 to 80 hours and they still can't afford shit. And not because of the loneliness crisis that our society manufactured, because they kept towns away from each other, because they wanted to sell more cars. Because they wanted to sell more cars, they took away recreation. They took away community. They created highway towns. Now people are separated. They're more lonely. But let's not blame city planning, which is to play a big part of the American loneliness crisis. Let's not blame them.
You gotta leave your family to be successful. Like you gotta go away to be successful. Like move to a different state, move to a different city. Like and which, by the way, ironically, when you leave to find success, you are taking away your safety net of family and community. So when you do fall, which is an eventuality, it's not like it might happen. Everybody falls at some point. You fall on your ass instead of falling in the lap of your community. It can't be all of those factors. It's China, Mexico, and Canada.
And plus, we know, and another reason why this pisses me off, this rhetoric, is because we know the CIA smuggles drugs. Like, the CIA played a big part. So whenever they do this, it's them purposely trying to deflect. But that's a conversation for another day.
Bro,
I'm sorry to interrupt this, but I
it's
got to the
like indisputable. Like if there's a drug like the in ICE is like the biggest human trafficker and drug trafficker in the fucking country. We know this. Yeah. This is indisputable, bro.
We know this. It's China's though, Niko. You see how they deflect responsibility from their government? It's not the CIA, it's not ICE, it's not the police gangs. Like we reported on the LAPD police gang that used to fucking smuggle drugs.
The police chief said it. The police chief. He was like, yep, we did all that shit. Oh man, we guns, drugs, all of it. Yep, we planned it. We did it. We were coordinating it.
But not a single right-wing influencer will tell you that. They would say it's China. It would say it's fucking Mexico. I'm shocked, Niko. They blame Canada. I can't believe they blame Canada. They usually don't blame white people for this kind of shit.
They must be watching you. They must be watching South Park episodes, and that came. They're like, "Oh yeah, we should blame Canada. Blame Canada. Blame Canada."
I'm not seeing them
in the real country anyway.
They say that less than 0.5%, 1% of fentanyl came from Canada. And like, yeah, I believe it because I'm not seeing it, bro. I'm not seeing Canada slinging fentanyl over here, bro. Anyway, let's continue to. I just had to break down this point.
Imagine like what a fentanyl drug dealer from China would look like. Like, what does the plug from the fentanyl plug look like? Is he like tied up? Like, is he like I'm genuinely curious. Like, and who do you know that you get in fentanyl from China into the US? Because that's your government. If they getting that much in, it might be time to look in the mirror, my guy. That's all I'm saying. If they're getting that much in that you got to blame them for an epidemic of fentanyl, it's time to look at your fucking agencies, you dumbass. Because we don't check it. We don't check shit. That's y'all. But they don't want to have that conversation.
That's simply the argument that Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, she used that argument like, bro, stop blaming us for your stupid ass drug problems. Anyway, let's continue the clip. I made it about 40 seconds before I went on a tangent. I'm gonna watch more of this. I haven't heard what Carrie Lake said yet. God forbid. We got Jank here. We got Piers. This is gonna be a fucking clusterfuck. So I'm gonna go back. A little bit. Sorry for interrupting, but that was a very important point that I wanted to make about how white Americans, they're just blaming everyone else except themselves. They refuse to take responsibility. It's so wild to see. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's play it. I'll move on to that point. Let's see why you share this clip because I'm already loving it. I'm already loving how unhinged this shit is. Let's continue.
Great for the president to have leverage in order to demand reasonable things like that countries stop allowing fentanyl to murder 100,000 Americans every year and that Mexico do its part to police its own border. And yet when somebody has the courage to show up and say to Wall Street, screw you, I am waging war. I'm waging class warfare on behalf of the American working class.
Oh no, she did not.
You elites in Wall Street, you do what you need to do because I'm not going to stop fighting for the American working class. Suddenly, everybody is sitting around going, "Oh no, the stock market." Yeah, the stock market looks like that because the rich are punishing Trump for siding with the neglected and humiliated American working class over them. We have already seen these tariffs work, Pierce. The number of people crossing the southern border is at 0. Fentanyl is at record lows for the last 10 years. We have already seen $1.2 trillion in manufacturing invested in this country since January 21st. So they have already
Nick, pause real quick for me.
She's having a full-fledged Karen meltdown right now. Like, this is insane.
So that 1.2 trillion number that she gave was she misspoke or she misinterpreted it. So what that 1.2 trillion was referring to was actually money going outside of the country in manufacturing. And that specific figure was the number that caused Trump to implement the tariffs. And that number is from 2024.
Wow.
And she didn't know that. And you can tell, like, when they zoom out, you're going to see she got her pen. And clearly she wrote all these notes on a pad. And I saw somebody say that she looked like she's on Adderall. I think that explains a lot because she's just going. And she did not stop to think. She's like, the number of people crossing the border is 0. Ain't no way in fucking hell that you believe that. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. No, nobody believes that. But fentanyl being in record lows, like, we won't really probably know that until the end of the year. Right? If there is a result. Also, just to be clear, you can't tax trafficked fentanyl. That's not how drugs work. If you can't tax it, that means you're tracking it. And if you're tracking it, that means your government's responsible for it. But that 1.2 trillion she was referring to is actually what is from 2024. And that's what caused Trump to implement the tariffs. They didn't bring back $1.2 trillion in manufacturing fucking job. What? Yeah, she's going crazy, dog. But you hear the passion she's speaking with?
Yeah, bro, she having that was a full-fledged Karen meltdown. That was one hell of a Karen and rant that she went on, bro. What is 2 minutes? 2 minutes of her just screaming. She's screaming at the camera. I know, because I do the same. Like, you gotta know how passionate I am about ending empire. The same way that I will go on my show ranting about ending war. The same way I'll go on my show ranting about reparations, the same passion I show for the working class. You feel?
That same passion is about she got the same amount of passion about the stupid shit that's coming out of her mouth right now. That's what's hilarious about it.
I'm not knocking the passion because I got passionate. I melt down on the show all the time. But it's like, what are you passionate about, bro? Come on, man. Come on. And this show is hilarious, man.
Passion can't substitute for intelligence.
What was that, Niko?
I was saying passion can't substitute for intellect. Like, it's better to have both.
Bree recently destroyed like a panel Zionist. She said she's gonna put in the war for Pierce so he can invite me on the show. It's like, bro, can you imagine? Can you imagine if I was like you had to do the same thing you did against Bree, 3-on-1 plus Pierce Morgan? I'd be down.
Plus Pierce.
Can you imagine? I've been asking. I'm like, hey guys, put me on Pierce Morgan, man. I'm tired of echo chamber. You guys know, just like Niko, I love a good debate. I've been trying to play this echo chamber. They don't want the fucking phone, man.
Look at who they invite. I said the same thing when I covered the show. My show said, so y'all let her come on. Pierce and fucking call me in. So we just letting everybody come on. Clearly credentials and fucking logic and credibility and facts and data mean nothing when you're inviting these guests on. So and I provide all that. So like, if we just inviting fucking people on, invite me on. If y'all gonna invite this dumb bitch on to literally make an argument that doesn't even exist. Like, yeah, 1.2 trillion million or $1.2 trillion in manufacturing came back to the country. It's like, nope, that's not from January. That's not what happened. And that's number from 2024. And that's what led to the tariffs, you dumb bitch. Like, but hey, Pierce gonna invite her back on, and that's the wild shit.
They usually pick guests to dumb down the discourse, which is why it was shocking to see him invite Bree on. Bree is like outside of the usual dum-dums on the left that he usually invites on. That's why Bree hit him up, and she told me like, hey man, I put in the word so you can put on Pierce. So big shout out for Bree for doing that. And Pierce looked at my profile, and he was like, fuck that shit.
Nope.
So Bree tried. I give Bree credit for that. Bree tried. But there's no fucking way.
Bree is already at that level of popularity that it can only bring more attention to Pierce's show. Bringing you on would be problematic because it would shine a light to an anti-war communist who knows what the fuck he's talking about. And to be frank, you're a straight black guy. They don't really like straight black guys on these shows. I'm not sure what the deal is about that. I'm being dead ass serious. It's kind of weird. I don't understand it. But like, they don't like straight black anti-war males. I don't get it, but it could be because of our demeanor, our disposition, the fact that we don't put up with their bullshit. I don't know. But there isn't, no, I actually believe it's because of our perspective. We have a very unique perspective that's driven by both knowledge and experience, right? It's the same thing as a Black woman that Bree has, that she brings to the table, albeit from maybe a different disposition, but that's what makes her so damn formidable when she's going up against panelists on shows like Piers Morgan, and why they might bring her on, but they're not bringing her on as much as Cenk.
Yeah, he loved Cenk. They love platforming dumb leftists. Like the same way that Fox used to always have the Mickey Cons on to argue with her, because they love to bring on the dumb left. Like, guys, this represents the left. They don't want to bring on a theory reading historian, someone who actually organized. And whenever they bring on Black guy, I think you're 100% right. But they will bring on like a Jonathan Capehart.
Yeah,
the Black dude who loved Democrats, liberal and feminine, and
they call the ace in the hole Mark Lamont Hill. You know, every 2.5 years, 2.5 years he gets it right until it's time to actually hold Democrats' feet to the fire. Like that's the ace in the hole is Mark Lamont Hill. Outside of that, yeah, they don't really fuck with us like that.
I got nothing against that, man. I'm very socially liberal. You can live your life however you want it, but they never will invite someone who trained Muay Thai for 12 years on their show.
Yeah.
Know what they talk about. They'll never invite you on. You know what I mean? And this is the moment. I had a viral tweet. I had to remind people because the moment I went on the Hill, Robbie, is that Bree invited me on. It's Bree. She's like the only one. Like everyone else in the mainstream, quote unquote progressive Let's Plays, they got us on blacklist like a motherfucker. But Bree's the only one who brought me on. He brought me on the Hill, and they told Bree, like, "Hey man, we never do that shit again." That's the last time they ever seen me on corporate media. And
I got initially invited on the Hill by Sagri, and Crystal stepped in and stopped that shit because they were worried out because it was going to be a conversation about foreign policy, and I knew about Bernie's horrible foreign policy past, and they were going to ask me about it, and I was going to tell the truth. And Crystal was still up for Bernie back then.
And honestly, I kind of fucked up because I clipped the part of me destroying Ro Khanna, and that went viral. So that ended any chance of any like establishment person. They saw the interview with Ro Khanna because they're like, "Hey, Ro, you can take a chance. Hey, Ro,
even though you were super nice to him, you were super nice, honestly."
Yeah, and after that, it was like, no one, nah. After that, that was our last chance, nigga. We done. We can't give you
a chance, Nick. We keep giving you chances, and you keep fucking it up.
I like going one and done. One and done is dope. Anyway, let's watch this clip. I'm glad you brought this clip up. This clip is a fun way to end the show. Let's finish this through, and then we can begin to wrap up after this clip. We definitely gotta do this again soon. It's always fun. Good to be back, man. This is exactly why I invite my homie Niko back on our first week. I have Dr. Sabrina join me on Monday. I love Dr. Sabrina. Very smart, very intelligent. We had her on many times before, friend of the show. So you guys know we starting out banger after banger after bang. I'm very excited to be back. Anyway, let's continue to clip. I'm gonna go back a little bit because I lost context a little bit, but I can't wait to see what everyone else on the panel says. We're all over the place here, but let's continue. We're just having fun. It's Friday, more of a chill stream, I guess.
Let her continue to roast herself.
$2 trillion in manufacturing invested in this country since January 21st. So they have already worked. Now, how long is Wall Street going to keep trying to punish this president for standing the American working class? I don't know, but I can tell you that the view from the street is people cannot believe that there is a president who is working for them, who is putting them first and telling Wall Street to go screw itself. Wall Street.
Yo, I watch enough pro wrestling to know when someone's cutting a promo, okay? Why this motherfucker trying to sound like John Cena right now? They all perform for Trump. You know Trump doesn't watch Peer, does he? Oh no, like these motherfuckers, they perform for MAGA talent scouters. Like they and I noticed that these right wingers, they cut promos like WWE wrestlers.
Oh, bro, it's so bad.
It's so obvious.
Speaking of Russell Brand.
We can cover that at the end. We can cover that last.
Hey, speaking of Russell Brand, fucking
hold that thought. We cover that at the end. That'd be our last thing. Let's continue this video. Hold, because I definitely want to cover that. Hold that thought. Let's continue this. Let's see what this Karen. She's 2 minutes in, man. She ain't letting no one speak. 2 minutes in with this meltdown that she's saying.
Which picked the Democrats for the last 3 election cycles in a row. That's what the real story is here. American Compass did a survey of just GOP voters. We know now that the majority of Americans who make under $100,000 a year now vote for the Republican Party. So that was almost a means-tested poll. And they found that 77% of GOP voters...
said a means-tested poll. Mm-hmm. Do you want to explain to the audience what a means-tested poll is? Because I have no fucking idea what that is. I've never heard of a means-tested poll. What the fuck? I mean, I guess technically speaking, if it's a poll, it is the mean of whatever the people you like. What the fuck is a means test? She said that shit with her whole chest. It's kind of like a means tested poll. Okay, what does that mean? How did you means test the poll? Did you go around and ask people like if it was true or not? Do you trust this poll? Okay, the average said yes, so it was means tested. I don't know. That's not a thing, guys, but what I'm telling you. But we, like I said, let her cook because she is speaking with so much passion about this shit. And she's coming out with means tested polls and fentanyl has stopped and people are not crossing the border anymore. And Trump is actually fighting the billionaire class after he gave them fucking $1 trillion in tax breaks. Yeah, that's cool. Mm-hmm.
Let's continue this clip and then we finish with Russell Brand.
The working class, not the elites, said that when they were asked, they said they would be willing to pay higher prices if it meant bringing back manufacturing, because of course in their mind they are going to be the beneficiaries of those manufacturing jobs. About Canada, a lot of people are asking, why Canada? We love Canada. Canada are our friends. Why wage this, tariff war on Canada? And of course the answer is simple. Canada and Mexico are the back door to the American economy because we have this trade deal with them, the USMCA. So if there are no tariffs on China, if Canada and Mexico do not match our tariffs on China, China simply builds car manufacturing plants in Canada and in Mexico, which they have already done, and they use that in order to get tariff-free cars into the American market, which is exactly what President Trump is trying to get away from.
Oh, what?
So what he wants from them is for them to close that back door. And I just want to emphasize again, back in the 70s, when the majority of the GDP in America was in the middle class, right? That's kind of like the golden era that we look back to of when the economy was really healthy and working class people felt that they could afford a middle class life. 25% of our economy was in manufacturing. Today, the top 10% control over 60% of the GDP. And that is a direct result of the fact that only 10% of our economy is manufacturing. And the largest share, 20%, is in finance and real estate, which is, of course, how other countries artificially inflated the dollar, which makes the product of the American worker unaffordable. And so what the tariffs are doing are simply saying we are refusing the race to the bottom in wages. It is unfair to the American worker, which I think we have all basically agreed on at this point.
So there's no way I can do this show sober, by the way. Like, Bree, if I ever do this show, just know I'm about to get lit. There's zero chance I could ever sit through this shit sober.
Oh my God, bro. She said China is using Mexico and Canada to manufacture cars and send them into the United States through a back. Oh, what? Where did she get that from, Nick? What is she talking about?
Like, bro, they had to listen to that for 4 minutes. I'm like, Pierce, motherfucker, can you stop her?
Yeah, why don't you interrupt her like you be interrupting fucking George?
Right.
You be interrupting George every 2 seconds. But do you love Putin? But do you love Putin? But you love Putin. Do you criticize him? Like, you couldn't stop her from sounding like a fucking idiot. You let her talk for 4 minutes. She's they using China. They using Mexico and Canada back. What was that last thing she said? Oh man, hold on. What was the last 10, 15 seconds right before she said something wild?
I'll play the last 20 seconds again.
Countries artificially inflated the dollar, which makes the product of the American worker unaffordable. And so what the tariffs are doing.
She said other countries, because of the real estate market, whatever the fuck. In the finance industry in the United States, other countries are artificially inflating the US dollar that the US is printing, fucking just printing that the US controls. These other countries that usually base their currency valuation in some way, form, or fashion off the valuation of the dollar. Because so of course it would be wise for them, Nick, to inflate the value of the dollar so that it can directly inflate the value of their currency and become less valuable overall. That makes all the sense in the world, right? Jesus Christ. Piers, if you just inviting anybody on, dog.
Anybody.
Call your bro.
The funny thing is, I literally see it all the time. He invites people with less following than both of us all the time. Like, it's not like a out thing. You know what I mean? But
it's because they're dumbasses. Like, if you're going to invite somebody on less followers, it's like, oh, it's a dumbass that's going to make this other smart person that I likely agree with or create a viral video with this smart person who's popular that, you know, is going to bring people. Like, that's what he does. He's not going to invite somebody with less followers who's smarter than the rest of the panel. He's never going to do that. Like, he's going to do it. I guess the closest that he got to it was Dave Smith at the time back in the day. Like, and he embarrassed the panel and like they won't have him back on for pro-Israel shit no more, or anti-Israel shit rather. So they should have Dave on to defend his stance on voting for Trump. I know that. That's for damn sure. I rock with Dave, but hey, look, you can't be open. Like it's a grift, yo. Like I can't. As a person who respects everything that David's been consistently principled and anti-war when it comes to Russia, when it comes to Russia, Ukraine, and NATO, when it comes to Israel and Palestine, and even with this Yemen situation. But yet you knew who Trump was, and you openly was like, I'm gonna vote for Trump. I'm gonna vote for Trump. And in my opinion, that is cowardly. Not calling you a coward, but I'm just saying respectfully, it is an attempt to hold on to your base because you know where your money is made. It is not a principle stance. It is a marketing stance. And as long as you're willing to admit that, cool, good for you. But at least be willing to admit it, because it's hard for me to really to really fuck with somebody like who will have all these principle stances, and then you're like, I'm gonna vote for Biden or I'm gonna vote for Trump, because we know why you're putting that out there. Because you could have voted for him in silence. You feel me? You could have voted for him in silence, but you chose to make the announcement because it wasn't about. You weren't trying to convince people to vote for Trump. You were trying to gain followers in a fan base of Trump cultists that you know are going to stick with you even when you make principled stances, as long as you keep supporting Trump.
Yeah. Well said.
Like Russell Brand.
We're going to get to our last topic. Big shout out to everyone who left super chats. Thanks for Threezy. Nick, I'm trying to see you in that Mario Kart or Smash Brothers. Man, you better be careful what you ask for, man.
Oh,
I don't think you can hang with me. Now you talking shit, man. You gonna come on my stream. You gonna come on my stream. You gonna call me out. And then you gonna talk. Bro,
you talking about the old ones, right? Because we're gonna be waiting a while for the new ones, apparently.
Apparently. But I still Smash Brothers, Mortal Kombat, fighting games, that's my shit. But I will say this, to be a little humble here. There are these Gen Z gamers, bro. These motherfuckers are legit, bro. I can't hang with these motherfuckers no more. My thumbs don't move as fast. So I will.
My nephew holds a controller like this when he's playing shit, bro. Like he be using all his. I'm like, yo, what the hell? My brother don't play Call of Duty with my nephew anymore because he said I'm not fucking with them little kids. My nephew 10 years old. He said, boy, I go. My brother used to be. It was crazy. My brother was the guy of Call of Duty and Halo. He was like the one that was talking shit to everybody because he was like that. But my brother said, I ain't fucking with these little 10-year-olds. I said, what? He said, bro, I go in there. I'm just hoping Cam carries me, right? He talking about my nephew. He's like, I'm just hoping he carry me, dog, because these little kids be going at it, dog.
Bro, these esports are wild, bro, because esports wasn't really a thing. We game for the fun of it, you know what I mean? But now they got esports. Nigga. They got whole careers, nigga. You can make so much money. So they train so hard, bro. I fought a few of these people at more combat. These motherfuckers, these new kids, they on some next level shit when it comes to games. So if you're like an e-gamer, bro, I can't fuck with you.
It takes a while for the kids to catch up with sports games. Like my nephew loves soccer and he likes playing FIFA, but he can't. I bust his ass at FIFA because it's like there's a level of like you got to understand the sport.
2K,
yeah, exactly. 2K, same thing. He likes playing basketball, but like he won't play with my brother like that at 2K because he knows like you still got to understand the sport to be really good at the game. So, but like Fortnite and Call of Duty and shit like that, no, he be Nah, I can't. I honestly don't understand how he can react as fast as he does. I'm like, bro, there's no way. How are you doing this? How are you so sure about the movements that you're making? I strive to have that level of confidence in my goddamn hand-eye coordination. Can never. How are you doing? It's like it's weird how these kids are so smart and so dumb at the same time now, right? Like they're like they're the most intelligent they've ever been, and simultaneously they be doing the dumbest shit ever. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like this. It's like correlated because they think they're smarter than they actually are. I guess is that what it is? Because my boy be doing. My boy is so damn smart, bro. This motherfucker would have had 100 on his test, but when they asked him how many letters does his name have, he put 5 instead of 4. I swear to God, I said, Levi, how many letters does your name have? 4. Why? So why did you put 5? I put 5. Yeah. I was like, let me guess. You was trying to finish your test first. Yeah, that's exactly what the hell you was doing. You was rushing because you thought being first is better. If you're not first, you're last. As kids, that's exactly what the hell we go. But yeah, man, real quick before we get up out of here, I do gotta say I just gotta talk about this Russell Brand situation. So I'm not here to presume guilt or innocence. Like I'm not here to do that. Sure. But I will say, I don't know if he's guilty or not. But when your ass all of a sudden you get the investigation started in 2023. In 2024, your ass is getting publicly baptized. You done turn full evangelical Christian. You went from being an what I would probably consider to be an anti-war principled leftist, calling out both the UK and the US government, to an evangelical Christian. And I'm like, okay, there's nothing wrong with being a Christian. Okay, but I'm not going to judge yet. Then he started getting a little bit too MAGA for me. Like to the point where it's one thing when you defend Trump from like Democrat lies, because we know that those lies are usually meant to further the ambitions of the empire sometimes. That's cool. But what I saw was he's always defending Biden attacking Biden and always defending Trump. And it was I
called him out ages ago, like even before all these allegations. I called him out a long time ago because I'll let you finish your point, Niko. Mm-hmm. I remember I saw he covered Ukraine. So I'm like, oh, he getting Ukraine right. So let me see what other things to cover. Then I'm immediately like, nope. Mm-hmm. Because he was obviously performing for a certain audience. He obviously was being fake, just like Jenkins. But please continue, Niko.
No, we actually, one of our shows, we talked about it, where I was like, he was obfuscating about Israel, all of us, like, because people were, so you can't make a career of being a principled anti-war, populist, leftist, whatever you want to call it, but you were anti-war. And you talked about all of the wars the United States or their NATO allies were involved in, whether it be trying to overthrow the Syrian government at the time, the Russia-Ukraine situations in Africa, even Iran. But then whenever Israel starts committing a genocide in Gaza, you are noticeably silent. And it's noticeable because of how much you talked about everything else. You already done put your brand out there, no pun intended. And you're silent about this. So then when you get called out for it, you start obfuscating and talk, well, we have to look at this from a biblical sense. From a biblical sense, Israel does have some rights to this land that is indisputable. Bitch, we're not about to indispute that. We ain't in disputing arguments based off the Bible. I'll be damned, first of all. And it's not true, second of all. But because like Israel was a city, it wasn't a whole fucking country. And this idea of greater Israel is insanity. So, but like he starts obfuscating and he can't even bring himself to say the fucking word Palestine.
Yep.
Right? So guilt or innocence, I don't know. Okay, cool. But the fact that you go to his YouTube now and it's straight defense, always and forever, of everything Trump does, it looks like you were trying to build up a base of people that you know are unprincipled, because when shit comes down and you knew it was coming down because the investigations were announced, you wanted a barrier. You wanted a group of people who are going to defend you no matter what, because we know these motherfucking MAGA people, they love defending weirdos and the Hollyweirds and the sex pests the moment that they declared their Zionism or their evangelical Christianity or their love for Trump, right? And that's exactly what happened. Yep. So at the bare minimum, you're unprincipled, you're duplicitous, you're opportunistic, and we can't trust shit that comes out of your mouth because your entire ideological shift was convenient. If this came out and you were still on principle in your anti-war stances, if you were willing to call out genocide, if you were doing the same things that you were doing before the investigation started, then people would be less likely to believe that, or at least more likely to believe rather, that this may just be a witch hunt, trying to use his past to hold him accountable for things that he's talking about right now. But that's not what it is. People are like, oh, it's just weird that this started whenever he became he became a evangelical Christian MAGA dick after this started. That's what makes it worse. Yeah. And even, bro, in that video, he brings up he tries to get his emotional reaction out of his white evangelical base by bringing up the Southport murders that happened in England, because they were that was that bullshit where they were trying to blame a Muslim immigrant for something.
Yeah, Niko, I want to play the video. I want to play the video before you get into. I want to play the video first, because what you get into is I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're on point here, because what he did was set up an audience that will buy the political witch hunt narrative, and that is exactly what he went to. And this would be way more legit if Russell Brand wasn't being so obvious in this narrative that he's a sellout. Because you mentioned how, and this is what I called him out for. He would say stuff like, "Man, yeah, the Israel-Palestine situation." Well, he wouldn't say Palestine. He said the Israel situation is very complicated. He was like, "It's very complicated. I don't really understand that." But, motherfucker, we caught you literally 10 years ago. You used to call for boycotts of Israel. And I am not one of these people that believe people goes backwards. There are people who are victim of propaganda. There are people who are confused about the Israel-Palestine situation. There are a lot of people who think it's complicated who don't look into it. I am of the belief that you don't learn about what's going on with Palestine like Russell Brand clearly did in 2014. In 2014, Russell Brand knew that Israel was doing something that was worth boycotting.
And that wasn't that long ago.
Backwards on that belief. I don't believe you de-radicalized like that.
You went backwards after the genocide started?
Yeah, you go backwards after waking up. Just like Joe Rogan, I don't believe you. Like, I don't believe that you can be waking up to corruption and then later like, oh man, I guess I was wrong. Corruption is good. That shit's not natural. Either you stay asleep forever. There are a lot of people who just stay asleep forever and they just avoid this shit. And you don't wake up and then go back. And Russell Brand has been caught doing that. And then let's play the video, and then I'll pass it to you. I know you got a lot more to say on the story. So let's play the video, and then I'll play the whole thing without interrupting, just for the sake of time. In 90 minutes, it's very disgusting because obviously, I don't know if he's guilty or not, man. The establishment does a lot of fucked up stuff, but he isn't acting like a guilty motherfucker.
Exactly. Yeah. Like,
let's play it.
Firstly, thank you for these incredible and overwhelming messages of support. We're very fortunate in a way to live in a time where there's so little trust in the British government. We're very fortunate, I suppose, that this is happening at a time where we know that the law has become a kind of weapon to be used against people, institutions, and sometimes entire nations that will not accept and tolerate levels of corruption that are unprecedented. I'm speaking particularly to those of you that are watching this in the UK. How do you feel about your legal system right now? How do you feel about some of the high-profile cases that are not being pursued and prosecuted? How do you feel that the Southport murders were handled? How do you feel about the government of Keir Starmer? Now, that's just sort of general context. I've always told you guys that when I was young and single, before I had my wife and family, who were just out of shot over there, my beautiful children, I was a fool, man. I was a fool before I lived in the light.
Children.
I was a drug addict, a sex addict.
Motherfucker acting right now.
Was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes. I want to thank all of you for your continuing support. I want to let you know that our show will be on Rumble on Monday. Thanks for your support there. And of course, I'm now going to have the opportunity to defend these charges in court, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. In the meantime, you lot, stay free. And we will be continuing to discuss this matter.
So it's a witch hunt, Niko.
Praise God.
So his message to his followers is it's all a witch hunt. It's almost like he was grooming an audience that is more than happy to hear someone claim that it's a witch hunt. Wonder who else does that? Who else claims that every investigation against him is a witch hunt? And what person did Russell Brand also supported?
Hey, look, or I mean, like Hillary Clinton would have claimed that, right? And Joe Biden claimed that, and everything. Remember, they were saying that the Hunter Biden situation was a witch hunt. That's what they were saying. It was a witch hunt by the Republicans. But it was actually legitimate, and he could see that at the time. And I'm not saying that his government isn't guilty of letting corruption slide. We all know that, but like, I'm not about to conflate the two. Like, just because they let corruption slide at the highest level don't mean your ass is innocent. So there's that. Two, so for example, I think one of the things he's referring to is the Epstein situation, right? But he can't say that. Why? Because his ass be sucking off RFK Jr.
Yeah.
That's why. And if you people would say that immediately in the comment, like, you mean the guy that just admit, I went on Jeffrey Epstein's play like 2 or 3 times, like, bro, that's one too many times for me. That's one too many times, okay? And whenever he got asked about the nanny situation, yeah, that wasn't a good look either. He definitely said so. Like, he can't say Epstein because he be riding RFK's jock, and he can't piss off the MAGA base, right? Yeah. So he makes these allusions to things that he would have been openly willing to discuss in the past before these allegations came out and before he made his little shift to becoming MAGA. And at that point, like I said, presumption of guilt or innocence, I don't know. It's highly likely that one of these cases, he did something wrong because of his past. And like, listen, bro, he's a Diddy guy. Okay, he was a daddy.
He's a Diddy guy,
right? I'm not saying that he's guilty, but I'm not willing to bet on innocence. I'm not putting my money on the innocent part. I ain't gonna do that.
You wanna know how I know this motherfucker's guilty? This is how I know this motherfucker's guilty.
Dildo.
Judge a man by the company that he keeps.
Hey,
judge a man by a company he keeps. That motherfucker look guilty as hell. That's all I'm saying. And we can hold two thoughts at once because I want everyone to be intelligent. I want everyone to weigh all options. It is 100% possible that the government will set something up on your ass knowing that you have a narrative that they don't like. But you are 100% blackmail bait, motherfucker.
Exactly.
You live a degenerate life, and that's why you are the perfect man. That's why Rabbi Shmuley got close to you. He's like, oh, look at this motherfucker. This motherfucker is blackmail bait.
That's what people don't get. It could be a witch hunt to some degree, and somebody said like it could be a distraction, like using a small fish to ignore the big. That's all possible, and also it's possible that he's still guilty. You know, Charlie Kirk said that the allegations are absurd, and I'm trying to understand. Like, okay, so like, I'm like the mere possibility, Nick, of the allegations are absurd. Charlie Kirk said. I said, so like, is it absurd now that he's a evangelical MAGA Zionist, like, or would it have still been absurd when he was a principal anti-war leftist? Would it still have been absurd to make this, like, the possibility of these allegations would have been absurd then? We know the answer to that, right? Like, that's the problem. That y'all motherfuckers are cultists. Just like the people who defend the Tates. Like, the Tates can be found not guilty for this very specific thing that they were charged for, and they would still be pieces of shit based off the video evidence we have of them. And y'all will still defend them because, well, the Romanian government's corrupt and they're still pieces of shit. I don't understand like why y'all acting like they're not. They're still pieces of shit. You could be innocent, quote unquote, because you've managed to navigate a technicality of a law, but like you can still be a piece of shit. I don't understand why people can't separate.
How is being a pimp living Christian values? Because like it literally blows your mind because Andrew Tate he did the financially smart thing of turning MAGA to win their money over too. So the whole thing is talking about the degeneracy of the left. That's the culture war that they promote.
That's what they said.
The degeneracy of the left. Meanwhile, you got he's a fucking admitted pimp. He just says he does nothing illegal, but he never like declined the fact that he's a pimp. He described pimping, and that's the degeneracy you guys say you're fighting against. And you guys see why in general why I hate the culture war, because everyone's fucking hypocrites. And no more, even if you sympathize with one side over the other, which I do not, both sides are fucking hypocrites. Because the same people who deride homosexuality and degeneracy, I promise you they're sucking cock in church somewhere. You know what I mean? They're all hypocrites. It's just that simple. But Niko, go ahead. I think you like
that's what I'm saying, bro. Like I feel like this shit with Russell Brand hit harder than Lindsey Graham, whatever the hell Lindsey Graham be hitting in that closet, right? Because we all saw this coming. We talked about this, and I remember us talking about it because of the fact that enough people were not talking about it. Like the bigger audience, the people with the bigger audiences that would be quick to call out somebody from MAGA, for example, or even another person who considers himself to be a leftist on this particular issue, with like Israel, for example. Like they were noticeably like quiet about Russell Brand's silence on genocide, or his silence on Israel's role in Syria, for example, or basically silence on anything that would mean that he has to openly criticize Trump. Like, I noticed it because I remember, like, damn, didn't I used to watch Russell Brand? Why did I? Oh, that's why, because he is full of shit all of a sudden. What? And the feigning stupidity, feigning ignorance, that shit pisses me off more than anything. You can't. I'm not really educated on this issue. Bro, you go out of your way to be overly educated on issues that people are not overly educated on. Like, that's your whole shtick, isn't it? That's digging deeper. And you're like, I'm not really educated on this issue. Okay, so why aren't you educated on the most important issue potentially of the fucking decade, of the century potentially? Like, why aren't you?
Feel like Tim Pool would say you got Israel derangement syndrome. Like, they know exactly what they're doing. Like, that was his. I think people focus too much on Israel. You mean the country that buys all our politicians off?
They have the most influence in the entire country. He's like, yeah, I mean, that's true, but it doesn't mean it's not Israel derangement syndrome. No, they have more influence than any other lobbying group in the world. What do you mean? I think that it's justified that we talk about them as that. That's like saying, that's like people in the global south saying that if you're there are debating with somebody, you got United States derangement syndrome. You think everything revolves around the United States? Yeah, motherfucker. Problems. Every single one of them can be traced back to the United States. It's not derangement syndrome it's a fact. It's just the truth. But when you get down to a Russell Brand, and like that, it's another component that you could point to that exposes the cult-like behavior and how not different this administration and its supporters have been from Biden, bro. I will admit that I didn't think it would be as cultish as it is, because this is the last 4 years he has to get some shit done. So this is a time, if you were ever going to hold him accountable, because not like he's going to win again, because that was the fear last time is, well, we don't want to be too hard on him, because what if he doesn't win and Biden is worse? And that at that point, that was a legitimate argument. Biden was worse than 2016 Trump. But Trump is on a race to the fucking bottom in that regard. This is the time to hold him accountable. There is no next man up. There's no next race for him. There is no, well, we got to prepare for what if the Democrats, no, this is it. This is the time to hold him accountable. If you're not going to do it now, then when? But the problem is the Trump economy. And I'm not talking about for the United States. I mean, the economy these motherfuckers built around being social media influencers during the Trump era. They're trying, it's just like this controlled crash of the economy. People are trying to secure their bag as much as they can to soften their landing when it eventually comes down. They know the end is coming, so they're doubling down. They're doubling down because what are they whose ass are they gonna kiss after Trump is out? Who they gonna make money off of? Candace already seen the writing on the wall. Candace already moved on. She figured that shit out. Bro, I will give Candace Owens credit. She a smart businesswoman, Nick. She is a smart ass businesswoman. She's like, yeah, we ain't supporting genocide shit. We about to stop, and we're gonna start calling out RFK Jr. And like, she's not like directly calling Trump out, or no, she actually has directly called Trump out, while like still maintaining some of the principles that the base actually claims it supports. But she actually stands on business when it comes to a lot of those shit.
She created a brand for herself.
You know bro, she's outpacing it. The Daily Wire fired her. She's outpacing them single-handedly. They just had a bunch of layoffs.
They created a monster, man. They created a monster.
They did. And she was smart enough to see, like, y'all motherfuckers gonna throw, like, I think that she realized, like, y'all we're gonna throw me under the bus anyway. Because they thought that her brand was reliant on her loyalty to Trump. They thought that. And to be honest, I kind of thought to some degree it was like the loyalty to Trump and I'm going to continue to show on black people. And to be fair to her, she kind of, outside of the George Floyd thing, which she will never let go of, she's moved on from the black versus white narrative shit, which is good for her. I'm glad. She's call out genocide, and she's not linking her brand to Trump. She's linking her brand to calling out corruption instead. And being true to the values that these evangelicals claim to espouse, and calling people out who are not true to those values. That was a smart brand switch, because in about 2.5 years, whenever she's still getting these views, because she will continue to get them, she's more popular now than she's ever been. I actually sometimes will stop in and look at her videos like, damn, what Candace got to say today? Let's see what the fuck she's talking about. Like, Charlie Kirk, done. All of them, bro, all of them are done after this shit. Ben Shapiro is even trying to get the rest of his little bag before Trump. And remember, he was against Trump. He was always against Trump, and he made that switch in the middle of this election because he knew, like, we don't got nothing to talk about outside of culture war and Trump versus Biden. And when Trump is out, what's next?
Yep. They realize they're screwed. So yeah, and they will have nowhere to go. They made their bed. That will happen when you rely on the duopoly. But I gotta get out here. It's always great to have Nick and Niko, man. These shows are always great. Always try to have them on Friday. Always great to end the week on a Nick and Niko show. So.
Hey, we gotta start trying doing that shit like more weekly too, because while the time difference is better, because now I'm only an hour behind Eastern time, or hour ahead of Eastern time. So yeah, we gotta try to start doing this shit more weekly, bro. Because that's
we definitely gotta make it probably a Friday thing or something. But it's always good. Anything you have coming up, Niko? I might have to get you, Fiorella. I want to get a panel together, like maybe you, Fiorella, Misty, probably a few other people. Maybe we can do that.
Shout out to Misty, man. Join and do dissidents.
Yeah, we have post duopoly at April 16th as well. So maybe we gotta do.
Bro, like people keep asking me to go on. So that's you, Kid, and do dissidents.
Yeah, maybe we should bring you on for one.
I'll come on, yeah, for sure. People kept telling me like, "What happened? Why aren't you going on post duopoly?" I'm like, I'm not sure what are y'all talking about? Is it like and then they explained to me, I'm like, oh, probably because of my fucking time difference, and they know I got a crazy ass time difference.
Yeah, and it's usually hard to do post duopoly because we gotta like collaborate all our times and shit. That's why we usually only do it.
Everybody says a different time zones.
Yeah, we usually do like Tuesday evening, but I don't know, like evening, like morning for you is gonna be weird. But
Tuesday evenings I could do. Yeah, if I gotta get a week notice or week or so notice, I can do Tuesday evenings.
Yeah,
but yeah,
we definitely hit you. We gotta do something here soon. Any last things you want? Anything you want to plug, promote? Make sure you guys follow Spot. Niko doing a good job. We got a lot of good.
David going brazy over there, bro.
David is legit, bro. Like this motherfucker's legit as fuck. Like the content. I had him on RBN. I saw. Yeah, dude, smart as hell, man. It's great.
Bro, too much.
Team we building. He's smart
bro,
as fuck.
If you let David cook, bro, David just bop, bro. The info he'll drop in the way. What I love about David is not just like, first of all, I would consider him the foremost expert on African politics. Like, not even close.
Legit, man.
Not even close, y'all. But it's the way that he can explain the interconnectivity of the Western hegemony with African politics, so that other people outside of Africa can understand it and understand why it's important to follow. Cause like it's hard. It's not like we don't talk. I talk about African politics all the time. Like, but the problem is it rarely catches fire outside of an African audience. And David, however, has been able to bring multiple audiences from around the world into the conversation about African politics, where he started to popularize those conversations. And I've been advocating for David to join Hotspot for a minute, and I'm so glad we were able to get him on, dog.
He's such a heavy hitter, man. Like, he's one of the people that I listen to, especially to speak about Africa. I'm like, then I realized just how little I actually know. Like the breadth of knowledge, like you gotta know. And I tell you guys, like it's almost like a time game. Like you learn more, you get a little more information. But Africa is so giant, China is so giant. Like I'm just scratching the surface. But he got such a breadth of knowledge. It's great that we have him on the team. Either way, like you guys can find his videos if you follow the Hotspot account. This is his latest one that he released. Niko had a lot of great videos this week. I just released a Yemen video as well. Make sure you guys follow us on Hotspot. Any last words that you have, Niko? I'll be back on Monday with Dr. Serena.
Subscribe to the channel. Y'all don't forget to share RBN stuff. Share, y'all know where I'm at, 40 People Podcast. Like, share, subscribe, support y'all's independent journalists, right? Because y'all know there's not. I mean, we not going on Piers Morgan like they already said. We get our love from y'all. The Piers Morgans of the world, they not bringing us on. They can't have that. So The only way people gonna see us is if y'all show the love. And sometimes a share can be worth more than $1. I'm just saying. So go follow Hotspot on Twitter. Follow me at Real NikoDHouse. You can subscribe to my channel, For the People Podcast on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, and Twitter. I think that's it. Yeah. And Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at Real NikoDHouse too.
Yeah, so we have Dr. Sabrina will be joining me Monday. It's another show I'm greatly looking forward to.
Oh shit, I cannot hear.
Make sure you guys follow.
Your microphone disappeared on me. I don't know if it's a me or you thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna wrap up anyway. I'm gonna put this in the background just so you guys can follow us. Follow us on Hotspot. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great weekend, y'all. Peace out.